Hello Potter fans, gamers and dwellers of fantasy realms. I am Xavi and I am the creator of the Harry Potter based role-playing game we want to share with you in this channel. In this video, I explain the character sheet we used to play. I will talk not only as the creator, but also from the perspective of a master who wants to provide other game masters with hints and clues to properly prepare and conduct a first years at Hogwarts. If you are watching this and you are planning to become a player for this game, maybe this video contains information or spoilers that your master would rather you didn't know. So you watch it at your own risk. There we go. As you can see, the character sheet we use is really simple if compared to a D&D or Pathfinder one. I have never fully understood D&D or Pathfinder character sheets, and when it comes to fill one in, things become more complex and time-consuming. You know, it takes a lot of time creating a D&D character sheet and then understanding it. So, for this game, I wanted to create something far more instantaneous. Therefore, the only things players need to start the game is to make up the avatars' names and maybe a little bit of their family and national context. But not too much, because as Harry Potter, players are 11-year-old magic people who do not know too much about the wizarding world in which they are living in, and they have just begun their magical education that will enlighten them in life. So, players can directly start introducing their avatars in the Hogwarts Express, taking into account that other traits and features of their characters will ultimately be discovered as the game progresses. They will learn more about their personality when the first thing they'll do in Hogwarts is getting sorted in a certain house according to their character's nature. By the way, check out Mac's video to learn the system we use in the sorting hat ceremony. And finally, further traits of their personality will eventually be disclosed when in the first transfigurations or chance lesson, they are told about the wood and nucleus of their wands. If you are interested in wand issues, please ask in the commentaries below. But unless they ask for a special background feature, like being a potential hybrid, aristocrat, metamorph, or squib, players are intended to know very little about their biographical background, and to have no special abilities or skills at all. All this will be revealed or delivered in its due moment, in special events along the school year that every master has to prepare beforehand. Although the character's blood status would not be relevant until year 2, I planned a minigame in the first year Christmas event that could reveal how muddy the player's blood is. So, every master is responsible to create the proper conditions in the game to reveal biographical data of the characters in creative ways. On the other hand, the equivalent of features, special abilities, class, guild, jobs, language and such are obtained by sitting the owls and the newts, getting enrolled in special lessons or involved in illegal activity in future years. Don't worry about these fields that are meant to stay empty until the students reach the proper moment to learn or attain those skills and feats. I also use the alignment variable in a different way as in Pathfinder or D&D, and therefore I rename it as Alliance, or Urani, according to a Japanese term. Generally, in Pathfinder or D&D, the alignment is a fixed characteristic given to a character that would determine the most immediate nature and justification of his or her actions and decisions, and tell whether the player is coherent and consistent with his or her avatar. Once again, since characters will hardly be teenagers in their first year at Hogwarts, it seemed far more consistent to me that anything that had to measure their actual goodness or malice and personality had to be as versatile and unstable as youngsters are. That is, they are under construction. In this case, the Alliance defines the character's like or dislike for the dark arts or the arcane magic, with a bar with an odd numbers of containers to purposely imbalance their sympathies. It is also a responsibility of the master to set what kinds of actions and how many are needed to obtain a dark art container or a white magic container. Ideally, these figures may be used as additional modifiers when the players are performing actions or taking decisions in line with the higher values in their character's alliance. In order to take advantage of something very defining in the novels, I ruled out an experience point system for this game and used Hogwarts House Points Awards instead. Therefore, players level up by obtaining house points, and house points are obtained and deducted in the same way as in the books, as Meg explains in her video. Consider that not having any XP system and resorting to house points to level up introduces a significant departure from classical RPG games, in which the level is not meant to get downgraded. And more importantly, the level would depend on the collective effort of all the members of every Hogwarts house, both real players and NPC who can really cripple the players. In this sense, I highly recommend future masters to put down a list of actions that would add or subtract house points if performed by the players in the game. Here is mine. Also, in this game, spells are not learned by leveling up, but by going to class. So, in order to make house points chasing more appealing, masters should think of a convenient way to reward players' dinging. For example, I have thought of improvements for spells which only work when the players are in certain levels or beyond, or they will only have access to spell crafting after obtaining 250 house points. Mind that offering stats when players level up might be a little bit tricky, because without any further restrictions, they could raise and lower their level to increase their features over dramatically. And dueling stats should be thoroughly restricted and monitored by the master to avoid overpowering. Most probably, professional and seasoned masters would not like the way I've linked the hit points with the level. Players begin every year at level 0, with 8 hit points in the health bar. The latter improves +1 every time the former increases by 1. This implies that all characters that have reached the highest level, 12, will have the same hit points, 20, as any other character, without taking into account variables that would make them more or less bulky or resistant to attacks. I insist that I try to make this game relatively simple and easy to manage, especially for the master. If you want to fix this to make it look more realistic, feel free to do it and share it with us, so we can learn from you. In this sense, for instance, I decided that walling characters such as Hagrid or Madame Maxime might have a lot of evasion, but not because of their agility or speed, but because of their bulkiness that would prevent that most of the spells make effect when hitting them. They also take half damage from physical attacks. Nevertheless, this health limit is not fixed, and masters may think of other ways to reflect characters' constitution by allowing them to access to additional hit points containers. I use chocolate frogs for this. You will notice the influence that Pokemon has exerted on my understanding of the RPG genre. I created the personality stats dynamics as a rough equivalent of the ability and skill check systems of the Pathfinder and D&D that I have never fully understood. First of all, I translated the 6 D&D abilities into 4 cardinal personality features embodied by the Hogwarts houses. G or Gryffindor takes in strength, dexterity, and charisma. H or Hufflepuff equals to strength, dexterity, and constitution. R or Ravenclaw to intelligence and wisdom. And S or Slytherin, dexterity, and charisma when they don't apply on G or H. The player's skill checks will depend on the nature of the action they are performing and the slots fulfilled in the personality stat involved, as Mag explains with more detail in her video. The mechanics we use for this personality stat system is D6 based, but feel free to adapt and use whatever dynamics you feel more comfortable with. In any case, personality points may have a limit for obvious reasons. Perhaps you may want to change the personality points maximum to the character's age instead, for instance, whatever. No? Also, the master has to make personality points available and accessible to the players throughout all the game and keep a very flexible system, because these stats will help characters to achieve their goals in Hogwarts as well as interact with other NPCs. That's why I call them personality stats. Finally, I tried to keep the dueling stats and mode as simple as I could. Power, evasion, precision, and speed may equal to D&D Pathfinder jargon like base attack, armor class, touch, saving throws, speeds, and initiative that, for a third time, I don't really understand at all. Therefore, I thought a very simplistic system inspired on Pokemon fighting dynamics. This is how it all ended. The faster combatant will be the first to act. He or she can cast a spell combining the user's precision, the move's precision, and a precision roll. With this, the attacker obtains a positive value. Then the target would try to protect him or herself, at least by using his or her evasion, and optionally an evasion roll and the extra evasion that you can get from a defensive spell. With this, you get a negative value. Then the user's positive value and the target's negative value are combined, and if you get a negative result, the spell fails. If you get a positive number, the spell is a success, and its effects can be applied. And if you get a 0, all magic effects get null, and in certain conditions, a priori incantatem may happen. Since our battle system is mainly D6 based, it is not convenient that players may get more than 5 in positive or negative counters in power, precision, and evasion stats. In this sense, I highly recommend future masters to transform dueling stats points, especially power, precision, and evasion, into highly priced treasures and rewards through all the adventure. Otherwise, the characters would become quickly OP, unless you have prepared equally overpowered bosses for them. Well, since both personality and dueling stat systems are completely new RPG dynamics we have made up, very simple but way too long to explain, maybe it would be more convenient that we make other videos talking about them in detail.